In the last class, we were discussing regarding the soil pollution. In last class, we have discussed on what is soil pollution, okay, and the definition of soil pollution, then the sources of soil pollution, and then we have discussed on the effects of land pollution on agricultural, industrial, and urban areas. What are the problems we are going to face? Then the environmental impact of solid waste disposal on a land, which is a part of your soil pollution, that we have discussed in the last class. Now today we are going to discuss on the remedial measures, okay, remedial measures of soil pollution. Then we will discuss on what is solid waste. From here your actual syllabus is going to start, that is what is solid waste, what is solid waste management, then what is integrated solid waste management, then we will discuss what are the types of solid waste, and then the sources of solid waste. So this much we are going to discuss in today's class according to your module 1. So in the last class we have seen what is soil pollution. I'll repeat the definition. What is the soil pollution? It is nothing but the persistence of toxic chemicals, radioactive material, salts, chemicals, right, which is going to cause the effect on the human, plant, and animal life. That is the adverse effect, okay, that it is going to cause an adverse effect, that is nothing but called as an soil pollution. I'll repeat the definition once again. The persistence of harmful chemicals, salts, radioactive material, which is going to cause danger to the plants, animal, and the human life, that is nothing but called as a soil pollution. Okay, so we'll see what are the remedial measures for soil pollution. Now what soil pollution is going to cause? It is going to cause surface water pollution, groundwater pollution, bird menace, then acidity to the surrounding soil, generation of flammable gases. So if we want to reduce this, what all these soil pollution problems, what kind of a remedial measures we can achieve, that we are going to discuss in today's class. So first is the proper dumping of unwanted material. See, whenever we are going to dump the waste material wherever we want, or particularly on the land, right, what kind of a thing we are going to have is, we are going to have surface water pollution, groundwater pollution, bird menace. All these problems, these are common. So how to avoid it? So first thing what we need to have is, we can have the sanitary landfills. That is, sanitary landfill is nothing but an engineeredly designed landfills, okay, that we need to have. Then hazardous waste should be dumped in your secured sanitary landfills, okay. So that is one important aspect by how we can reduce surface water pollution, groundwater pollution, bird menace. For all these problems, one particular solution is the proper dumping of unwanted materials into the designated places. So this particular thing, if we adopt, we can reduce maximum of our the land pollution problems, okay. We will be having the dustbins and all, right. We are going to have the composting methods, okay. So if we adopt all these particular methods, we can reduce the bad impact or ill impact what is going to occur due to the soil pollution. So first point is got over now, okay. Next is the production of natural fertilizers, okay. Now by using aerobic and anaerobic composting, that is the, what is composting? Composting is nothing but the mixing of the organic waste material with the soil, and it is going to increase the NPK value of the soil, and it is going to increase the crop fertility, is nothing but your composting, okay. So by using these aerobic and anaerobic composting, that is, we have already seen what is aerobic composting and what is anaerobic composting, okay. Then by using worms, that is a vermicompost, by using some of the biodegradable waste material, we can have these particular natural fertilizers, okay. Natural fertilizers, how it is, your chemical fertilizers, if we use, due to lot of chemical again that lot of chemical fertilizers if we use, that particular fertilizers will be having the different kind of chemicals which may harm our your groundwater, and it may harm our the soil texture. So but this can be reduced by using specific kind of natural fertilizers instead of your chemical fertilizers. Next is the third point is utilization of the biological weapons. Okay, that is we should use the neem based pesticides if we want to have the agriculture, if we want to destroy some of the pests which are there in your farms. We should use the neem based pesticides instead of the chemical pesticides. Then the proper hygienic conditions. Okay, now what is this proper hygienic condition? That is instead of disposing the waste, waste means the human waste anywhere, anywhere, any place. If we do the disposal of such a waste, we are going to cause a huge amount of problem. Okay, so instead of that, if we dispose the human waste in the underground drainage system, okay, the human waste or the wastewater which has been used by the human, if we dispose it into the underground drainage system, from that underground drainage system it is going to enter, it can be treated by the your wastewater treatment, and then it can be reused. But unfortunately what we are going to do is, especially the developing countries like India, is we are not having this proper UGD underground drainage system, and we are going to pollute the soil. Okay, so this is how it is going to create a problem to the your soil. So we should have the underground drainage system. Then we should have at each and every place we should have the public lavatory, proper treatment of sewage. Okay, and then we should dispose. So by having these particular hygienic conditions, we can also reduce the soil pollution. Then recycling and reuse of the waste. Whenever we are going to recycle and reuse the waste, right, what will happen is the ultimate disposal of the waste is going to get reduced, and when the ultimate disposal of the waste is going to get reduced, the soil pollution is also going to be get reduced. So that is the reason why we should have an habit of these recycling and reusing habit we should adopt in our daily life. We should reduce, okay, we should reduce the amount of waste that we are going to dispose on a land. We should reduce it. Then we should try to reuse the material what we have used. If it can be usable, we should reuse it. And then if the both reduce and reuse if cannot be done, then we whatever the waste we want to throw it, we should try to recycle it if it is recycling. Okay, so by using such kind of a methods we can reduce, okay, by using such kind of a method we can reduce the soil impact of soil pollution. Next is the ban on toxic compounds. Okay, the ban on toxic compound means we are going to have some of the toxic chemicals we will be normally we use it. That is, we are going to use DDT, endosulfan, then nuclear waste, carcinogens. We throw it. We don't follow the proper rules and regulation for throwing all these particular waste, right? So we should have a ban on these particular toxic chemicals. Then we should have the plantation of trees to reduce the soil erosion. Okay, we should plant the trees to reduce the soil erosion. So this is how we can reduce the soil pollution, as well as before applying the sewage to the lands, we should treat it, or whenever we want to dispose it, we should properly treat it and then we should dispose it, so that the impact is going to be get reduced. Okay, next we are going to see your this completes your soil pollution. Okay, this completes your soil pollution. In soil pollution we have discussed what is soil pollution, definition, then sources of soil pollution, what are the impacts, and the remedial measures. So this particular soil pollution that is beyond your syllabus is completed now. Now according to your 15th scheme, okay, according to your 17th scheme, whatever the things are there, we are going to continue. Whatever the soil pollution part was there, it was not a part of your syllabus, but it is an extra thing that what we have learnt. Okay, now we will see what is solid waste. Now what is solid waste? As the name is indicating, the solid waste. Okay, means waste means we cannot use it. Now the waste which are in solid in nature, that thing we call it as an solid waste. So now let us define what is solid waste. The waste which are arising from human and animal activities that are normally discarded, right, that are normally solid in nature and are discarded as useless, this particular thing we call as a solid waste. In a simple term, you should remember that the waste which are in a solid in nature. Now if you want to define, now how you are going to define it? The waste which are arising from human and animal activities. See, your plants and all, they are going to generate, and these are the biodegradable waste, and they don't cause a huge impact on environment. But when the human is, especially the human, okay, when he is going to liberate the waste, then it is going to cause a huge impact on environment. Okay, so waste which are arising from human and animal activities that are normally discarded as useless, that we call it as the solid waste. Okay, just remember, solid waste are nothing but the waste which are in solid in nature. That's it. Okay, next is, if we dump these particular solid waste as we want, what kind of a problems we are going to have is again the same kind of a problems when we dump the solid waste. As a soil pollution was having the different n number of problem, right? Your surface water pollution, groundwater pollution, then toxic gases, bird menace, then acidity to the surrounding soil. All these kind of problems we are going to have when we dump the waste as we want. Now what is management? Management, every time whenever we speak regarding management, management is nothing but the systematic management of whatever we do. That is nothing but called as a management. Doing the work systematically, that we call it as a management. Now here also in the solid waste management also we can have the things very very systematically. That is how is right from generation to disposal. If we maintain that particular systematic thing, then we can say that the solid waste is managed properly. So let us define what is solid waste management. Now discipline associated with, okay, what we do, we generate the waste. Okay, discipline associated with control of generation means as and how we want, we cannot produce the waste material or we cannot dispose it. Okay, the discipline associated with control of generation means that we should generate the waste material in a controlled way. Okay, then what we do after generation, we store it. Where we store it? We store it into the dustbins. Okay, that storing of the waste material also should be in a proper way. So discipline associated with control of generation. Okay, after generating, what we do, we store it. Okay, we store it, generation, and then we store it. Then after storing, what we do, we will keep as it is? No. So what we do, we are going to give it to the person who comes for the collection. Okay, so discipline associated with control of generation, storage, okay, then giving it to the collection crew in a systematic way. Okay, discipline associated with control of generation, storage, that we are going to store it in a proper way. We are going to store the metal, your biodegradable plant, the dry waste and wet waste into the different dustbins, so that also comes in your storage part. Then collection, whenever we are going to give the particular waste material, we should give it very systematically. We should give it. Okay, so this is regarding the collection. Then transfer is nothing but from a smaller container to the larger container. See, whenever your solid waste material collection crew is going, not all the lorries is going to come to your house. Now what kind of a material, what kind of a dustbin collection vehicles will come is, might be these are hand cart, right? They are going to have the hand cart or very small kind of auto rickshaws, right? Your Tata Ace, Ape, all these material, all these vehicles is going to come to collect the waste in front of your house. So what is this transfer is? Transferring the smaller waste material or the waste material which is going to be collected in the smaller vehicle to the larger vehicles, from your ape to your trucks. If we go to if you are going to place into it, we call it as an transfer. So that particular thing also should be done very systematically. So that is nothing but the transfer. Now transport. What is transport? The whatever the waste that a city has been generated, that has to be placed in a larger trucks, and from the larger trucks we are going to transport it to where? To the disposal site. So we should do it very systematically. Then after your transporting, right, what the thing we are going to have? We are going to have the process. In the your landfill site, we may have your segregation. Okay, the metallic and non-metallic thing we may separate, and your biodegradable, non-biodegradable waste material we are going to separate it. So that is your part of the processing, and again might be you will be using screening, shredding. If you are going to sending it for your size reduction, then we may be sending it for shredding. For recycling, if we are going to send, then we may again shred it. So all the processing things we are going to do in this particular processing type of in the processing unit, we will be doing all these the things. Then after processing, whatever the waste that we need to send it to the disposal site, there we are going to dispose these particular waste material in accordance, this particular thing is very important, accordance with the best principle of public health. That means we should dispose it in such a way that it is not going to cause a problem to the public health, engineering, and the aesthetic things. It should not disturb, and it is going to consider the environmental consideration. Okay, so all these things are involved in your solid waste management thing. So let us define once again. Right from, you should remember the thing is, right from generation to disposal, we should remember all these things. So what is there in that? We are going to have the control on generation. After generating, what we are going to do it? We are going to store it into the dustbins. Then after storing it into the dustbins, we are going to give it to whom? We are going to give it to the collecting crew. Okay, then collection, then transfer. That collecting crew will do what? From a smaller vehicle to larger vehicle, they are going to transfer. Now from that is nothing but the transfer. From a smaller vehicle to the larger vehicle, what it will do? It is going to transport it to the either processing or at the disposal site. So this processing, what we do? Processing, we are going to have either shredding or either separation of the metallic and non-metallic element, and then finally the disposal. So what is solid waste management? Is a discipline associated in generation, storage, collection, transfer, transport, processing and disposal of waste in a manner that is in accordance with best principle of public health, engineering, economics. That it is, if we practice all these things, it is not going to disturb the public health, it is not going to disturb the engineering, then it is not going to disturb economics and aesthetics. So, and considering the environmental consideration is nothing but your solid waste management. So this is what solid waste management is. Okay, I hope it is understood. I will repeat once again. Discipline associated with control of generation, storage, collection, transfer and transport, processing and disposal in a best principle accordance with the public health, engineering, economics, your conservation, aesthetic and environmental consideration is nothing but solid waste management. Okay, it's a very simple definition. Right from collection to disposal, you should remember. Okay, then integrated solid waste management. What is this integrated solid waste management? The selection and application of suitable techniques, technologies and management programs to achieve the specific waste management objectives and goals. Now what are management objectives and goals? See, your main objective of your solid waste management is to reduce the quantity of solid waste that has to be disposed on the land. Okay, that is your main objective. So in order to reduce that quantity of solid waste material disposed of on the land, what kind of a technique and technologies and management principle you are going to achieve, that we call it as an integrated solid waste management. Actually, this integrated solid waste management, it is a part of your 10 scheme, but still we have learnt it. What is an integrated solid waste management? Now it is selection and application of suitable techniques and technologies in order to achieve the specific waste management objectives and goals. Now what is the waste management objective and goal? To reduce the quantity of solid waste that has to be disposed on the land, that we are going to reduce it. So that is nothing but called as an integrated solid waste management. Okay, now let us discuss what are the different types of solid waste. Here we are going to have municipal solid waste, industrial solid waste, agricultural solid waste, then biomedical waste, e-waste, radioactive waste, hazardous waste. These are nothing but the types of solid waste. Then sources of solid waste, we are going to have residential, industrial, commercial, institutional, construction and demolition, and municipal and agricultural solid waste. This we are going to discuss in detail in the next class, because right now I cannot able to complete this particular what are the different types and sources. We are going to discuss in detail regarding this in the next class. Thank you.